Sony is clearly aiming to make the PlayStation 5 incredibly powerful. But just how much horsepower will the company's next-generation console be packing? According to a new job listing posted by the company, there won't be another system that can match the PS5. The post, which is for a senior cloud engineering manager, states that the candidate chosen will be one of the leaders of an elite team that is super excited to launch the upcoming world's fastest console, PS5, in 2020. That's right, Sony is calling the PlayStation 5 the world's fastest console. A pretty remarkable claim for a lot of different reasons. For starters, it tells you a bit about how Sony could market the machine, and that the company might focus more on processing speed to differentiate itself from Microsoft's Project Scarlett, or cloud-based options like Google Stadia. Not only that, the post is essentially Sony calling its shot with the PlayStation 5 in terms of how it thinks the console will stack up against Microsoft's system. Sony is confidently stating, at least to a job applicant, that the PlayStation 5 is the world's fastest, even though there aren't many public details about Project Scarlett, aside from Microsoft doing some bragging of its own.
Frame rates up to 120 frames per second.
8K capability.
Variable refresh rate.
Next-gen ray tracing.
Sony already believes the PS5 has higher clock speeds, so this news may be just as interesting for Xbox fans as it is for PlayStation fans. It could mean Project Scarlett isn't quite as fast as a PS5, but could potentially have advantages in other areas. On October 18, 2019, Digital Foundry took a good, hard look at processors that are suspected to be powering the PlayStation 5, and concluded that we could be getting a machine that's at least twice as powerful than the Xbox One X.
We now know that Gonzalo is actually almost certainly 99% the silicon that's going to be in PlayStation 5.
The processor in the PlayStation 5 will reportedly have 3 modes that enable it to run at 3 different speeds: 2 GHz, 911 MHz, and 800 MHz. The 2 GHz mode will be used for games built specifically for the PlayStation 5, allowing them to tap into every bit of the extra power the new machine will provide. The 911 MHz mode will be used for PlayStation 4 Pro titles, games that are designed to take advantage of the PS4 Pro hardware, but can still run on a base PS4 if necessary. And finally, the 800 MHz mode will be for normal PlayStation 4 titles that were never enhanced for PlayStation 4 Pro. Combine all that with what's been confirmed about the PS5's chip, that it'll come decked out with 8 cores and 16 threads. And you have a machine that can play last generation games while also boasting enough power for next generation experiences. And if you think Xbox One X games look good and run well now, imagine something that's twice as capable. It's a pretty exciting prospect. We seriously cannot wait to get our hands on a PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, we don't have a solid release date for the system yet. What we do have is an idea of when it might be announced and when it might launch. Judging by past console launches, it's likely we'll get our first look at the PlayStation 5 sometime this spring, either before E3 2020 or at the conference itself. That would make a lot of sense, as we typically get an enormous amount of video game news at E3 and in the weeks before and after the event. And you have to imagine that some of the titles talked about will be showing up on Sony's new machine.
We look forward to continuing the conversation and demonstrating why PlayStation is the best place to play.
A reveal in May or June 2020 would put the console on everyone's radars and give Sony several months to drum up hype for the PlayStation 5's launch for the 2020 holiday season. And as for that launch, some outlets have been reporting that the PlayStation 5 could arrive as late as December 2020, which would definitely be a shift from the typical November launches we've seen for past PlayStation consoles. Will any of these reports or speculative stories be proven out? We'll likely have to wait until spring 2020 to learn all the details. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more SVG videos about the next console generation are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.